Hi everyone, and welcome to Penny Dreadful Season 40. So, Season 39 just wrapped up, and the rotation is all complete, all the cards are confirmed in or confirmed out, and it's going to be a very interesting season, maybe even an insane season, someone could say. But we'll get into that in a second. So, in this video, I'll start by talking a bit about the meta of the last season. Then I'm going to go over what cards are leaving the format, what cards we won't see in the format. Then I'm going to talk a bit about the cards that are returning to the format. There are some very interesting cards coming back in. And then also, of course, I'm going to talk quite a while about all the new cards that are going to be legal. And then there's going to be a short overview of the lands and some decks to look out for. And yeah. So we'll start, as I said, with the previous season, season 39. So in my last video of this sort, I kind of said that season 38, there was a clear best deck. It was Lumber Twin. It was basically solved day one. Everyone knew that it was the best deck and the deck to beat. And yeah, but in this season, season 39, you can't say that at all because there wasn't any clear best decks. Like there was no deck that has more than like 65% win rate and like more than, I don't know, 8% tournament play rate or something. And it's quite a balanced season in the end. So the season also kind of shifted all the time. Like it started out with Izzet Control or like Izzet Madcap being very strong, being called by some people like the boogeyman of the format, but it kind of dropped off over time. Like in the PD 500, the large end of season tournament, I think not a single person brought the Madcap Experiment combo, or like combo, whatever you want to call it, but nobody brought that interaction. So, and also in the middle of the season, a deck called Solemnity Aggro or Aristocrats kind of just plopped up out of nowhere. So it was a deck revolving around the card Solemnity and cards with Persist or Undying, which with Solemnity can be sacrificed infinitely many times and always come back. And this deck proved to be really good, but it didn't perform so well in the Penny Dreadful 500 either. So some notable decks were like Boros Humans, which was basically mono-white humans but with Price of Progress. That one was pretty strong in the beginning, but kind of fell off as well. Heroic had a pretty good run, especially by one player, but it didn't really catch on, I guess. Control was played a bit, but not too much. Valakut Ramp turned out to be pretty mid. Like it was pretty hyped up before the season because Valakut is a new card, but it turned out to be quite slow. Primal Prayers did its thing, and yeah, in the Penny Dreadful 500, the tempo decks, both the Zorius tempo and like is it tempo or like something like that? I guess mono blue librarians as well. They did pretty well, and they kind of gained popularity in the last week of the format. But I think if the format had gone on for a few more weeks, it would have been likely that the meta would shift as well. So now let's talk about the new stuff, the new season, season 40. So first of all, let's talk about the cards that are leaving the format. So first and foremost, Platinum Empyrean is leaving, so no more Madcap Experiment shenanigans. You can still Madcap for like Platinum Angel, but that is not as effective, and if your Platinum Angel gets killed, then you also get killed. So I wouldn't advise for that. But yeah, I mean, control decks are going to have other tools, but they're going to miss a few crucial cards like Cryptic Command, Archmage's Charm, and Shark Typhoon. The first two were also heavily played in other tempo decks and also just blue decks in general. Vendilion Click, also another tempo card that was played quite a bit. Mary, Esquire of Rohan, wasn't played too much, but it has been a crucial piece of Legends decks, especially in Boros, for the past couple seasons. And while we do have other cards to replace it, I think Mary is going to be missed by some players. Also very notable is Satori the Infiltrator leaving. It was very close to the edge of being legal again, but in the end it kind of just missed a few too many times, and now it's not going to be legal anymore. So Satoru was quite a cool card. It was played in the Primal Prayer deck, I think, and also in some other brews that I and other people have made. I found the card pretty cool, but yeah. As I said, Shark Typhoon also played in various decks, also in Cascade decks, because you can cycle it for 2 or for 3 or something. That's also leaving. Yeah. Then the cards that were used in Solemnity Aggro, notably Flare of Malice, Murderous Redcap, and Viscera Seer, are all leaving. Solemnity itself is still in, and I think the Jalralf's Messenger is also still in, but these cards are leaving, and especially Flare of Malice, I think, was also played in some other decks, and it breaks kind of my heart that Flare of Malice is not legal anymore, because I used to play it in Hidetsugu and Kari combo, and now I can't do that anymore. Too bad. Oh, and also Roaring Furnace and Steaming Sauna is going to be missed by a lot of people, I think, because this card was quite effective. It was very good at removing stuff, at drawing cards, at providing late game value, at being like a good card in Cascade decks. So yeah, that card is out as well. So now let's talk about the returning cards, and I'm starting with this section in particular before the new cards, because there's one card that we have to talk about. It's Nadu. So Nadu basically banned in every format, even in Commander. It's a very good card. The last time we had it, it was played a lot, but it wasn't as effective, I think, up until the last week of the season, where Simic Nadu, which was more of a tempo / control-ish deck, kind of popped off, and then again Nadu did win the 500, I think. But it wasn't nearly as impressive as I think it's going to be now. But of course, there is going to be counter play to it. It's not going to be the only viable deck, I think. We do have Umbral Mantle, which is a free way to target your own creatures over and over again, to trigger Nadu over and over again. Plus, it also combos with Fanatic of Ronus, which we also still have. So you can tap Fanatic for 4 mana if you have a 4 power or more creature. Then you untap it for 3, and then you do that over and over again to make it infinitely big and make infinite mana, which you can then use on something like Nature's Rhythm to fetch either, well, in early game you can fetch a Nadu with it, or an Outrider and Core, which can target the Nadu, and in the late game you can use your infinite mana to fetch out your Wincon, which I don't know what that could be, but there are going to be options. Then another great card that we got back is Persist. This one was also right at the edge of being legal, but it turned out to be legal in the end. And Persist is always cool to have, I think, because it is a really good reanimation spell, but it can't reanimate like Iona or something like that, so no legendaries. But there's cool stuff to reanimate. There's Trumpeting Carnosaur, there's Sarah's Emissary, and some other stuff. Conspiracy Unraveler, for example, can also be persisted. I think this card is actually still played in Modern sometimes, in like Reanimator decks, so it's kind of surprising that we got it, but I'm not going to complain because I love playing Reanimator decks. Another cool card is Commandeer, that we also get back. I fear that it's going to be played in Nadu as well, because if they have a lot of cards, they can just use this as a free counter spell, and then combo off again, or continue comboing off. Last time around, it was mostly played in like the Lalia Cascade deck, I think. But yeah, it's free interaction, so you should always be aware of Commandeer. And yeah, it's going to be seen how strong it is going to be. Then a card that I haven't actually seen in PD before, I think, is Detective's Phoenix. This also combos with Cosmogoyf, kind of, because with the Collect Evidence you can just exile your whole graveyard, and then you get a big Cosmogoyf. And by the way, we do get Cosmogoyf in this season, as you're going to see on the next slide. But also you can just give anything haste and above and flying. So Detective's Phoenix, potentially very strong. I think it's sometimes played in like Modern still, so it's definitely a card with a lot of potential. Then next up we have Thopter Foundry, combos with Sword of the Meek. We don't have that many good ways to make the mana for the ability, I think, but I mean, you can still do it, you can still try it out, you can play it in like a control deck to make a lot of Thopters. And yeah, I think it's potentially cool, but I don't think this is the right season for it, but we're going to see. And another card for a combo deck, Outcaster Trailblazer, obviously goes into the Teamer Battlecry deck, which, by the way, I did play last season and the season before that a bit, but I wasn't very successful with it. But this card is, now that we have it, is going to be making it quite a bit better, I think. It makes mana, you can copy it with like a clone, and then you can make another mana, draw a card. You can do crazy stuff with it, I think, and yeah, going to be fun. Also going to be fun is Bloodbraid Marauder, unless you're going to just play it with Living End. No, just kidding. But yeah, we also get Living End, which you're going to see on the next slide or the slide after that. So of course you can just Charter's Agent into Living End, sorry. But you can also just try to fill your graveyard with like the different card types, and then play Bloodbraid Marauder, get your Living End, see reanimate a bunch of stuff, kill your opponent's board. That could be potentially very strong. Which version of the deck is going to be stronger? Who knows, but we're going to see. And lastly, we get Vesuva back, so you can do Cloud Post Vesuva stuff. No Glimmer Post, unfortunately, but two of these lands can still be good together. And now let's talk about the new cards and the exciting stuff. So first and foremost, Emrakul, the Eon, the World Anew. I think this card is super cool. When you cast it, you get control of all your opponent's creatures, and this is a cast trigger, so it's pretty hard to counter. There's some stuff to counter it, but I don't know if there's anything that you can like Nature's Rhythm for that can counter it. But yeah, so this is going to be very strong against Nadu, I think. Also, it has Madness, Pay 6, Colorless. This is going to be hard to make work. Like, of course, in Cloud Post decks, it's not that hard. Aside from that, you probably need some like Pain lands, Filter lands, 5-color lands that also make colorless to make it work in normal decks. But I've already played some of them, and like playing an Emrakul and just taking all your opponent's creatures and having a 12/12, it is really strong. But you gotta get there. So yeah, I think a lot of potential there, and yeah, really cool card. Also cool is Cosmoglyph. I already talked about it. It also combos with stuff like March of Wretched Sorrow and Demonic Bargain to exile 13 cards and tutor something up. Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's kind of just a big beater, but you can like fling it, you can give it haste and flying with Detective Phoenix. So also has a lot of potential. I don't know what kind of deck you build around it, but yeah. For Cloud Post decks, we have Golos. Golos can search up your Cloud Post, your Vesuvas can search up Cascading Cataracts to make 5 colors of mana, and then cast stuff for free. Pretty cool card. I don't know if it makes Cloud Posts that much better, but yeah. Court of Calling, I think would have been a cool card if it wasn't in the Nadu season. So I think this season, basically every Nadu deck is going to play 4 Court of Calling, because it's instant speed, you can convoke it with your non-2-core tokens to make it free. Yeah, this could be going to be annoying, but yeah, I mean it searches for any creature. Could also be played in like Golgari or something, search for your Cosmoglyph. Yeah, but mainly a Nadu card, I guess. Living End, on the other hand, I already talked about a bit, so either with Chartless Agent or with Demonic Dread or with Bloodbraid Marauder. I think it's not going to be as strong as you might think. You have to play all these bad cards with it, like you have to play a lot of Cyclers, but then again, we don't really have any like free spells. We don't have Force of Negation or something to protect the combo. We have Commandeer, sure, but that's kind of ineffective and doesn't work against everything. Especially not against Wrath, like Damnation, which we're going to talk about in a bit. So yeah, I think it could still be a good deck because it hoses all the fair decks, and also Nadu potentially. But yeah, we're going to see how strong it's going to be. In a similar vein, Foggy Swamp Visions reanimates a lot of stuff potentially, but in a more special way. because you exile the creatures that you target. You can target your opponent's stuff too, though, and you can potentially do a lot of reanimation on turn 3, but it all gets exiled at the end of the turn. So you can circumvent that with some other stuff like Louis Soir's Sacrifice to trigger the end of turn triggered ability, or like March of the Swirling Mist to phase out all your creatures and then they don't get exiled. So I think this could be a cool, like, special reanimation card, but I don't think it's going to fit into the normal reanimator decks that well. Knight Errant of Eos, on the other hand, a pretty classic Convoke card, was played in Standard for a while. It's especially good with stuff like Kuldotha Rebirth, which we don't have, but maybe you can like green-white Convoke with like Nantuko and stuff. I don't know really where it would fit into decks I know, but people are going to play it in some decks for sure. Archdruid Charm, also a very interesting card. You can search for a creature into your hand or land on the battlefield. Can also let something fight or exile artifacts or enchantments. I think this charm, it's kind of hard to make work because it costs triple green and it doesn't do that much in a single action, but it's very versatile for sure. And if you need a creature tutor, you should probably play it. Maybe if you don't want to play Core of Calling or don't want to play Nature's Rhythm. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that it's in the same season as the other two cards, but still very cool. And Damnation, also very interesting card because it's just a Wrath but in black, and we haven't ever had it, and it's quite an expensive card on paper, but apparently not on Magic Online. Yeah, there's not much to say about it though. For Light Paws, I never had this card on my radar, but when I read it, I was kind of like, whoa, this card does a lot. Like, whenever you play an Aura, you just get one from your deck for free that costs less. And in Aura decks, they usually have like 1 mana Auras, 2 mana Auras, maybe 3 mana Auras. So whenever you play 2 mana Aura, you just get one for free. And that has a lot of potential. I think every white Aura deck is going to play this and warp its deck around it because it's pretty strong. We do have some strong auras that are leaving, but there's still a lot of auras in the format, so people are going to be able to play this. So now some more new cards. This slide is more of the cards that I find pretty cool but that aren't going to be that strong. Venerated Rod Priest. This is also a combo card for sure. You can play it with like the March that is green that gets a creature that you have on the battlefield, but it gets a copy from your library into play for like 1 mana. Could be played with that. March of the Swirling Mist, also very good with Venerated Rod Priest. And yeah, notably this creature does not trigger when you target it with an ability, only with a spell. So it's not going to be going into the Nadu decks, most likely. But it still has a lot of potential. You can make cool combo decks with it. Yeah. Ugin's Binding was hyped up a lot before it got released in Modern Horizons 3, where it didn't get played at all in Modern. I think this card is pretty cool, but it's going to be hard to trigger it. You don't want to trigger it with a 12 mana Emrakul, because then it's going to bounce the creatures that you would like to have the control over. I think the best place is probably Metalwork Colossus, but then again, that deck doesn't typically go blue. Yeah, going to have to see where you can fit this, but it has potential for sure. Quintorius Kant is basically an upgrade to the Carnosaur combo deck that I played a few seasons ago. Basically, you play him, then you discover 4, then you discover into a clone that can clone Quintorius, or a card that can make a copy of it, and then you just repeat that over and over again until your opponent is dead. So obviously in that deck you can't play cards that cost 4 or less, besides those clone cards and some like very special cards. And especially with like Roaring Sauna leaving, I don't think this is going to be a great strategy, especially in Nadu season. Like, maybe I'm going to try it, but I don't think it's going to be that strong, sadly. Another card for Nadu, most likely, is Sentinel of the Nameless City. Very strong mid-range card as well, but you can also target something with the map. Yeah, not much to say about it, but cool card. And one card that I was very surprised to see is Underworld Breach. So this card is also banned in like 3 formats, and also a commander, competitive commander staple and stuff. I don't think we're going to have the tools to make it work in Penny Dreadful, but it has a lot of potential for sure. You can play it in Storm decks. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be like format defining, but it's cool that we have it. Yeah, Conspicuous Snoop combos with some goblins like Kiki Jiki, but we don't have the goblin that puts stuff on top, so meh. We have Insatiable Avarice, which costs black though, so I don't know. It's also just a good value card for goblins, but yeah, going to be hard to make work with the combo. And then some more cards that I personally like a lot. Soccer Bolt Boomeranger, kind of just a looting on a stick. Also is legendary for Louis Suarez Sacrifice, so I think that is going to be an interesting card, both to like counter your own triggers that are negative, like from the Foggy Swamp Visions, or like counter your opponent's counter spells, or like their active abilities or something. Yeah, those two are going to be cool in Reanimator decks in Grixis, I think. But yeah, maybe not the best cards, but still cool. And one card that has surprised me in the one day of testing that I've done after the season has released is Gran. So it looks very like an uncommon kind of, like it's a 1/2. It loots and it has like the set mechanic on it. But if you look at it closer, then you realize it's 1 mana for a card that loots every turn. And the bottom text, you could say it's flavor text most of the time, but there are some pretty good lessons, both in green as well as in blue, and some in red. So you just need to have 3 in the graveyard, and then all your non-creatures cost 1 less. That is potentially very powerful on an already strong card. So I think I'm going to play a lot of this card, of this Grandma. Yeah, and also it loots, so it's good in like Reanimator decks, it's good in like Madness decks or something. Yeah, especially good with like Emrakul as well. And one last new card is Avatar Destiny. I think nobody has ever talked about this card like anywhere, but I think it looks like really strong if it weren't 4 mana in a combo season. So you can do combos with it as well, like especially with Altar of Dementia and like the Boonbringer Giant, I think it's called, like the giant that brings back an aura from your grave or tutors it up from the library. So you can like enchant something with Avatar Destiny, sack it with Altar of Dementia, targeting yourself or your opponent. Get a Boonbringer Giant of the reanimation ability if you hit it, or like maybe you have milled a Boonbringer Giant earlier, and then you reanimate like a Karmic Guide with it, bring back the giant, and then you can like do combos with Altar of Dementia and stuff. I think it looks really cool, also like a strong mid-range card, but yeah, probably not strong enough in Nadu season, but we're going to see. So now, a short slide about lands. This time I was kind of too lazy to like put all the good new lands on the screen, so I just took the nice little table that a mod in the Discord has made. The Discord, which by the way you should all join because it's very active and we discuss a lot of meta stuff and like decks and new cards and stuff over there. So basically we have all the pain lands, filter lands, some creature lands, like almost all creature lands. We have all the snarls, the checks, the tangos, and the bicycle lands. We have some of the creature type lands, like the ones where it says if you have an elemental in your hand or on the field, it comes untapped. You know what I mean. And then for the exciting lands, we have 3 slow lands, 2 shock lands, and 4 fast lands. So especially good mana is in Naya this season. And also we have like Grixis has 2 fast lands, so that's also pretty notable. But yeah, we also have all 5 adventure lands from Final Fantasy now. I think these are criminally underplayed because they are lands, they make mana in a color. Yes, they come in tap, but they are also a spell that is usually like okay. So of course we have a lot of like different utility lands. but I think these have a lot of potential. Also, we have some interesting other new cool lands, like Fabled Passage, Reflecting Pool, Plaza of Heroes, also Cloudburst Vesuva, of course. Sunken Citadel, also very interesting. We still have Valakut, and we have Snow-Covered Swamp, which goes very well with Dead of Winter, a board wipe in black. So Mono Black is eating good. And now for the last slide, decks to look out for. Of course, you're going to have a plan against Nadu. Everyone's going to be playing it. Like, not everyone. I'm not going to be playing it most likely, but a lot of people are going to be playing Nadu because they think it's going to be the boogeyman of the format. Maybe it is going to be, who knows. We're going to find out very soon, but you definitely need a plan for that deck. Living End also probably going to be popular because it's like an easy deck to build. It's very obvious, kind of, and it's also not that hard to pilot. Nothing against any Living End pilots, but yeah. Which version is going to be better? Who knows? The one with Shadow's Agent, the one with Demonic Dread, most likely not, or the one with Bloodbraid Marauder. But you need some Graveyard Hate in your sideboard most likely, because this deck is going to be popular most likely. Legends could also be played. We still have Flowering of the White Tree, which is always a very strong card. White-based Auras could also be quite strong with the new Light Fang or whatever it's called. I already forgot the name. Reanimator definitely going to be strong with Persist. So another reason to pull some Graveyard Hate out of your sideboard. And in general, I think a lot of combo decks are going to be played. There's a lot of new combos to be discovered. Of course, you can always play mid-range and control and aggro as well, but I think especially mid-range is going to suffer from all these combo decks. And we don't really have good counter spells for control, but maybe you just play control anyways because you need to have an answer for these combo decks, and control is usually the best at that. But yeah, so in general, I think the season is going to be very cool, but maybe it's going to be too much of Nadu, too much of combo in general for my taste. But there's so much to do, so many decks to brew, so much to try out that I'm still going to have a lot of fun. And this season is only 7 weeks long, I think, so it won't overstay its welcome most likely. And if you don't want to encounter Nadu and stuff, you can always just play another format as well. But you should at least give this season a try. Because as I said, there is a lot of stuff to discover. And that was it. I hope you have fun brewing and playing. Scryfall is already updated with the Season 4D cards. There's one problem though, which you should keep in mind. There are some Spider-Man cards that have gotten into the format, but they aren't displayed on Scryfall, and I think you can't sign them up on League Run either. So maybe that's already fixed when this video comes out. If so, I'm going to leave a comment in the comment section explaining that. But for now, we kind of have to ignore the Spider-Man cards, or like accept that they aren't legal for now, but they're going to be legal for sure. At least that's what I heard. And yeah, don't forget there's a kickoff tournament in 1 week. I don't know the exact date of my mind, but it's always 1 week after the first Saturday of the season. I'm also going to try to commentate on that tournament, at least the top 8. So watch out for that. I'm going to upload that to YouTube most likely. Like I did for the last tournament, the last Penny Dreadful 500. And yeah, don't forget that having fun is the most important thing for this format. We don't really play for big money or something, so if you're not having fun, you can always take a break or something, or just play something else and or like other decks and brew around and whatever. Yeah, I'm rambling too much. So yeah, have fun playing Penny Dreadful. Goodbye.